Soviet scientists have found a way to make bees pollinate red clover as well. In the evening, the beekeeper gathers the largest flower clusters of red clover. He strips the flowers and pours over them cooled sugar syrup. Early next morning, he pours this syrup into the feeding racks. And before their flight, the bees spread the fragrant syrup among the cells of the combs. Then, impelled by the aroma of the syrup, the bees at once find the field of red clover. Until late in the evening, they potter about among the flowers, obtaining hardly any nectar, but pollinating one flower after another. This is another proof that bees have no intelligence, but act purely by instinct. Besides nectar, bees also gather pollen from the flowers, carrying it in little pouches on their hind legs. In the course of a summer, a colony of bees collects nearly 16 kilograms of pollen. The pollen is stored by the bees in a cell and well pressed down with their heads. Here they lay in a stockpile of pollen, the nutritious albuminous food essential for rearing the larvae. The hot summer has set in. Thousands of workers are born daily in the hive. The life of a worker during the honey season is short, 6 weeks in all. New denizens appear in the hive, outwardly differing from the workers. These are the drones or male bees who fecundate the young queens. Grown so large, the colony begins to find the hive crowded and stifling. This gives rise to the swarming instinct, impelling the bees to new actions. The bees have built some large waxen cavities. Into these the queen has laid eggs, just as in the ordinary cells. Here the bees build spacious chambers for the rearing of future queen bees. In ordinary cells, the larvae are fed milk the first 3 days only, while the remaining 3 days they get a mixture of pollen and honey. In the queen bee cell, on the other hand, the larva is fed on milk 6 days on end. Thus, thanks to extra feeding and spacious quarters, it's a queen bee that comes into being instead of a worker. As soon as one of the queen cells is sealed, the colony is seized with swarming excitement. The queen stops laying eggs, and the workers discontinue all activities. Then, one fine day, the bees begin to leave the hive. Half the courtiers, inducing the old queen to accompany them. The swarm takes to the air and alights at once on the nearest tree. If the swarm is not hived in time, it will fly away, and the apiary will lose this colony. Meanwhile, in the abandoned hive, a new queen is expected within a few days. The lifespan of the queen bee is quite long, 5 to 6 years. Expert Soviet beekeepers take steps to prevent the bees from swarming. They breed new queens artificially and divide overgrown colonies in two. The time has come to take in an abundant honey yield. The beekeeper removes the full honeycombs from the hives. Each contains 3 to 4 kilograms of fragrant amber-colored honey. The wax seals on the combs are removed with a knife. And the honey is extracted by a special appliance. Honey possesses curative properties and is easily assimilated by the organism. From time immemorial, people have kept hives for honey and wax. Experienced beekeepers obtain up to 100 kilograms of honey per hive every summer. Comes the autumn. The bees no longer fly out of the hive. The queen has ceased laying eggs. Not a single larva or pupa remains. What's going on here? The bees begin to oust the voracious drones, pressing them down to the floor of the hive and pushing them out of the hive, and that spells the end of the drones. Winter is drawing near. In the winter, the bees are kept in special premises where a cool temperature is maintained. The queen and the workers who were born at the beginning of the autumn remain in the hive through the winter. The bees gather in a close cluster and move slowly from one comb to another. All winter they are in motion, breathing and feeding on the honey left there by the beekeeper. The bee is the only insect wintering in natural conditions that doesn't hibernate. The heat exuded by their bodies keeps the temperature in the hive about 20 degrees centigrade above zero, as compared with 6 degrees